Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and today's episode is another one of the episodes you've been waiting for, the MyAnimeList. And the year now is going to be 1988. This is a pretty big year again. Lots of good blockbuster movies and that kind of stuff coming out. 1987 was really big because it had like 50 OVAs that came out. So, I mean, that was like a crazy year for new anime releases. But so this year, I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'll probably have to break the episode into two. So again, if you want to follow up on the TV series and that kind of stuff that came out in the previous year, do check the video for that. And then you can, catch up and find out what you know. But now, before I begin, don't forget to go down below, click like, and click subscribe. Again, about 50% of you guys are subscribed, and that's great. Again, I hope that the remaining of you, I've earned your subscription, and you go down and click that red button there for subscribe. And again, great if you guys could also click that bell for notifications, because again, I'm getting up there. At least now YouTube now recommends 20% of my videos, so that's a little bit better, I suppose. But yeah, again, the only way that you find out about the videos and that kind of stuff is again clicking that notification bell. All right. So, without further delay, let's begin. Okay, so we continue on. We're at 1988, and we're doing the third season, which is the summer season. And then the summer season, well, let's see, there's only 3 TV shows, so it's pretty, pretty simple in terms of TV programs, and none of them are really notable, so it's, pretty easy. We can just skip ahead to the OVAs. Again, we're going to speed through all the, the TV shows that are, ongoing. So again, if you are interested in these particular shows, please go back to the 1988 seasons 1 and 2 episodes, and I'll go through those ones in those ones. Okay, so we'll just speed ahead to the OVAs here. All right, so we begin with the OVAs, and again, right at the very top is some more of the Bubblegum Crisis OVA set. So again, the next installment episode of Bubblegum Crisis, very, very popular. In the tail end of this 1980 series, definitely Bubblegum Crisis was one of the highlight OVAs for this particular series, so definitely one to check out. The second one here is Vampire Princess Mew. Okay, so this is one of Daisuke's favorite ones, because I remember he gave me and showed me some of the manga done by Narumi Kakunochi, and he was really interested in how that artwork was on. Originally came from the manga that also will eventually bring you like Charmer. And so it was really pretty cool concept, and definitely really nice stylistic artwork with that. It was really good. And I remember we did do the fan subs for this, and I remember going down to San Diego Comic-Con because AnimeEgo doesn't release this until 1992. So it actually took them 4 years from when this got released now to them to actually getting it onto a video cassette in English dub or whatever in 92. Okay, so we had a couple of years where we were ahead of the game, as it were. I remember later on we talked to Robert Woodhead and actually found out that he was trying to license Orange Road and Vampire Princess Mew and Bubblegum Crisis. So AnimeEgo was really trying to be ahead of the game on this thing, and they were with limited success. They managed to get some of the newer animes from this period, right? Still took them until at least 92 to get it out. So definitely a really pretty cool anime, Vampire Princess Mew. Okay, the last one on this line is Demus no Hanayome. It's just, I guess, translates to the Blade of the Bride. Now, this is probably one of the start of those very few kind of shoujo kind of animes and that kind of stuff. We've had a couple of ones that kind of just sort of sparsed out in the CDs, because I remember going through the SM CD set, and there's a bunch of ones that just sort of show up Joker, Milky Way, and a few things like that. Caltheus, I think is the other one that comes really to mind. And at this time, shoujo animes aren't very well received. Like this particular one, like virtually nobody had. I don't even recognize it myself. So that's just sort of kind of the state of what shoujo is right now. It's just very, very, it's really having a lot of resistance against all the other, very, very more popular OVAs, male-dominated OVAs, I guess you could say. Okay, so continuing along, we have Ace no Nurai, number 2. So this is the second OVA for Aim for the Ace, and they'll go good anime based off of tennis. Okay, so that's it was pretty popular actually for that, because again, even later on they Gunbusters renamed itself as Ace no Nurai, which is Aim for the Top, which is sort of based on that. So but again, it's a stylistic type of like tennis kind of type of show. I didn't particularly like the art style just because that's that style that's used in this one. But the anime was still pretty it's still as sports animes go, was pretty good, and it was fairly popular. So I think it was more popular than let's say Captain Tsubasa, which is soccer. But in terms of sports animes, I think that was a fairly one good one that people could follow relatively easy, I think. Okay, so continuing on, we have 10 Little Golf Force. So basically, in the middle of the releasing all the original Golf Force series by Kenichi Sonoda, he decided to make a super deformed kind of comedic version of Golf Force. So this is they continue on with this idea. Even when you get onto like let's say SD Gundam and that kind of stuff, but they decided, why not give it a try with Golf Force, right? So it's like, okay, so they tried to a super deformed comedic version of Golf Force, and it worked pretty well actually. I think AnimeEigo eventually finally licensed this one as well, but it came out much later because again, the artwork and that concept of the larger head and the small body was really kind of new, right? See, the last video on here is called Kyoshisama Riku-sama, and this is another one of those Shonen Jump specials, which is again it's made by the people who made Dragon Ball, but of course it's not Dragon Ball, so it kind of looks like Dragon Ball, has sort of the same story as Dragon Ball, but it's not Dragon Ball. And when you've got things like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z sort of coming out, like going on, it really suffers from the, well, it's not Dragon Ball, so we kind of let's it gets ignored because it's not Dragon Ball kind of syndrome. So again, no one really had this one, and no one really distributed this one. I don't even recognize it myself, so we'll just continue from there. Okay, so we continue on to the next period of OVAs, and we go to this Dongurin to Yamashiko. Now this is kind of weird because like this guy is done by basically the guy who brings you Night of the Galactic Railway. The character designer for this one, as I said, is kind of meddling, but his name is Yashihiro Nakakura, and again, a lot of the else he not known for. Future War 1980X, which I mentioned in the previous year, was a pretty good story. Just didn't like the character design on it, but kind of a more realistic type people like there. He did that Demos no Hanayome, which I mentioned earlier, which no one knew about and basically faded into obscurity. He also did the original version of the Genji, the Genji Montagari version. Again, I already specified in the previous episode that I preferred the Kiyomiya version of Genji, but this guy did the original that particular version. So really, a lot of meddling titles that this guy's done. But he'll get his due note when he actually does the Legend of the Galactic Heroes OVAs. So then that's when he'll get his major break. So really, this show has some some history to it. But again, I guess it was maybe a little bit too artistic at this time, and again, was pretty well much ignored by most people. Again, so it was Night of the Galactic Railway got some traction. This one just didn't, and basically, faded into obscurity, I guess. So that's that one there. Next one is Watpo no Bukura no Otashi. No one's ever heard of this one, so I'm going to skip over that one. Next one is Genshin Tsukushin Pitaru Ika, the OVA. Now, this is actually going to surprise me because this is actually a Bandai release, but being shoujo again gets basically no traction at this time, and basically falls into the category of forgotten. Okay, so good artwork on this one and whatnot, but it's just again it's a genre that's probably just a little bit too early for its time right now. Okay, so we continue on with the list here. The next one, the next one is the What's Michael OVA, and this is the second one. So this is the kind of the animated cat, stories of the animated cat, I guess is probably the best way to describe this one. And I guess it was popular enough that they made a second one. And the odd person did have some What's Michael, whether it was the OVA number 1 or 1 2. I don't think that many people collected them. Again, we're in the era of other more popular animal kind of cartoons and that stuff that we got over here. Namely things like Peanuts, obviously, and Garfield, right? So I think this one kind of fell by the wayside in the light of those more popular shows. Next one is His Name is Gold, and this is really neat because as I mentioned earlier in a previous video, when I was going over my laserdiscs, I had half the laserdisc for this one. His Name is the Gold. Though I never did get get it subtitled or not. Unfortunately, to my surprise, they actually licensed it in Europe, in the UK. So there's an English subtitle version of it available on VHS under the name Samurai Gold, which has the English subtitles on it. So it's pretty cool. So the neat thing about this one is that it literally is done by the guy who does Zeta Gundam, Double Zeta Gundam, right? And so the character designer and that kind of stuff, if you look at even some of the characters like Mimi, for example, she looks exactly like Kess, and although the main character dresses up like a punk type version of kind of a shonen Bakuzu type of guy, I guess, GTO type kind of guy. The art style and the facial designs and that kind of stuff is definitely of a Double Zeta Gundam, Judo Ashito type of character, and even the voice acting I think might even be his character VA too. So it's it's a pretty good kind of neat sort of offshoot of that character design that you are familiar with if you watch Gundam. But otherwise, kind of a futuristic samurai show. Definitely worth a good check out. And then the last one here is one called it's actually short actually because it's surprising. Doki Doki Gakuen Kensanai Yoki Daishimero. Okay, now when I think Doki Doki, I'm thinking like Doki Doki Pre-League or that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a all girl baseball team, high school kind of thing. Doki Doki sort of, it was also kind of a high school romance game kind of thing. But in this particular case, this one is another title that's surprising. It was released by Bandai. Your typical female heroes, they go into the evil castle where the demon is, and they have to beat all the guys up to there, and then basically beat the main guy. Super short anime. It's supposed to be like they say it's like 10 minutes long, and it was used as a promo type item, and it does have some very famous voice actors and VAs in it. But again, because it's being so short, it's probably another one of those sort of daikon like animes. It was pretty much ignored, and nobody really knew what it was and how to get it, even for that matter. So it basically fell by the wayside. All right, then let's go ahead to the very last two OVAs for this third season, and it's two things that I never heard of, and probably no one else ever heard of either. So we'll just skip over that and go right straight to the movies. Okay, and we scroll ahead to the movies now for season 3 of 1988. And right off the top of the list is Akira. So again, this is one of the, well, I guess very pinnacle animes for North American release. That basically, really cemented the fact that there's this really high quality anime coming out of Japan. So Akira, yeah, definitely. I think for many of us, was one of the the very first really big full length feature movie kind of anime that we did. I mean, some of us, of course, who were a little more lucky, got Wings of Animeus, and that may be there at first. But I mean, I think for the titles really released and what kind of definitely Akira was that key one. Okay, so continuing on the list here, we have the third Dragon Ball movie. Again, so the ongoing story of more Dragon Ball movies. All right, so again, this is the third installment of this one. So they're obviously very, very popular. The next one after that is Saint Seiya, the movie. So again, seems that almost every season, every year, they seems to make a new Saint Seiya movie. Pretty much the same concept that they've done in the previous ones, just kind of recycled and gone over again. It's amazing how Athena always keeps on getting herself in trouble and then having to require the saints to go and bail her out again. So same story again for this particular one, but again, Saint Seiya very, very popular right now at this time. So they keep on making more and more sequels and movies for that. Moving along to the next line there, we have basically a movie for Saki and Otojuko. So again, personal favorite of mine, and again, very, very few people actually collected this show, let alone translated it for that matter. But so they took the basically very popular TV series and added a movie for that particular series. So a lot of really popularity on that particular series, enough to make it another movie for sure. Anyway, and I'm glad that now after so much time has elapsed, someone has actually found subject and made that available. So yeah, definitely kind of a neat, funny kind of show to check out. What else we got? The other two movies, Hai no Anime Annie the Fura. I mean, it just looks like a Grave of the Fireflies or type of show. Twilight of the Cockroaches, everything, but it's not. It's another sort of post-war sort of show. But surprisingly, I don't believe I've ever seen this traded on the list or that kind of stuff. Again, maybe it's because of the nature of the actual show, the film, and that kind of stuff. Because even back then, things like Grave of the Fireflies wasn't really a big popular hit, if you know what I mean. The next one is Ramen Man. Okay, so again, wrestling weird stuff. Again, not very many people got into this kind of show either. So it's just one of those not obscure movies that they kind of went on with. Alright, so we're just gonna finish this up with the last bunch of two movies here, which I have not heard of before, and pretty sure that no one else has really heard of before, even now. And one other special, again, haven't heard of this one, and don't even recall it ever being on anyone's list, because did a pretty good job, collecting and researching and finding all these real obscure things from back then. But these titles have not shown up on those lists either. So, all right, so that finishes up the season 3 of 1988, and again, we're already hit over the 20-minute mark again, so I'm gonna have to make another episode just for part 4. and then basically I'll do a wrap up for all of 1988. I guess this might be the new normal since we get so many titles coming out every season. All right, so my recommendations for the various different categories, both a TV series, movies, and OVAs. Let's see what I got there and see what might be able to interest you. Okay. All right. So right away, there's not very much in the way of TV shows. There's really only one. It's the Cream Lemon / Lemon Angel. So again, it's slightly smutty, and it's based on basically a band named Lemon Angel, and it's basically 3 girls and their various different stories. There's a lot of music in it, like debut and that kind of stuff, because these shows are very, very short. They're like 3 minutes long each, approximate the length of a song essentially. And so like you can think of them as short mini music videos, and they basically put them together and made a short little series with them with a slight bit of smut in them, and just liven things up. And good animation quality actually. The one of the key character designers does this as his virtual only key actual character design, but he did a lot of things like key animations and that kind of stuff. For a lot of my favorite sort of animes, including Double Zeta Gundam, and some other big favorite famous names. Dan Cougar did things like Bubble Crisis and that kind of stuff. So he's been in a lot of high production value, high character design, that kind of stuff, and some pretty good music too, by the way. But again, very short episodes. It's not easily consumable, and unfortunately, after all this time, someone actually spent the time and actually fans of it. So that's actually not that bad as well. Okay, so yeah, the only one TV show to check out would be Cream Lemon Angel. Okay, so the next category is OVAs. And OVAs are relatively simple as well in this quarter. Of course, we have Bubblegum Crisis leads the list right off the bat, and again, the continuing stories of the 8 OVAs for Bubblegum Crisis, very popular right now. Cyberpunk, Girls in Hard Suits, the 3 Gs basically. So yeah, it had all the formula of something that is very popular at this particular time. The new entry, of course, is Vampire Princess Mew, the other title that the MyAnimeList later licensed, and again, very good artwork. Narumi Kakunochi is very, very talented in that more stylish type of thing. And again, it's an interesting mixture of how they use vampires and that kind of stuff, and the Mew's tie in with vampires and that kind of stuff. So it's it's a different kind of vampire type of show. So it was very good. The third anime in this list is going to be His Name is Gold, and again, this is a personal favorite one because I really enjoy the Double Zeta Gundam, now that sort of character design and storyline, that kind of stuff, and artwork and whatnot. So that's why I personally like this particular one, and definitely if you've got the time, definitely worth checking it out. And the other one that's number 4, again, if you have time to check this one out, it'd be 10 Little Golf Wars. And again, Kenichi Sonoda is really getting a lot of play here right now, because this is his high season. Bubblegum Crisis, Golf Wars, all doing really doing real well for him. And of course, he's still got things like Gunsmith Cats and Riding Bean and that kind of stuff coming out. So a lot's going for him right now. But this is sort of like his sort of funny, let's make fun of ourselves type of anime for Golf Wars. So again, if you're a big fan of Golf Wars, this would be your ability to make fun, kind of have fun with it sort of episode. Okay, so anyway, so those are the 4 suggestions I have for OVAs out of the list that for this particular season. So Bubblegum Crisis, Vampire Princess Mew, 10 Little Golf Wars, and His Name is Gold. Okay, and last we will do the movies, and there's not very many movies that are concerned. I mean, actually, even it was kind of hard to actually come up with 3, but obviously, the 3 most significant movies that would be in this year season would obviously be Akira. Now, again, if you come across a best of list, especially when it includes 1988, and they don't include Akira, then the list is not worth paying attention to, because yes, to many people, especially over here, this was the first really big feature hit that they probably have seen, and has really had some big influence on them. Definitely, it's one of the big blockbuster type of movies of this particular period. I mean, of course, there's many of that style, right? I mean, we just had Wings of Animeus, and other really big, um, groundbreaking the titles is, we all said the Studio Ghibli stuff from the year before. So obviously, but this is the first one of let's just shall we say ushering in the new wave of movies and animation and stuff. I mean, as I said, and this is kind of strange just because the action in it, the soundtrack was really good on it. I mean, I guess some people don't could complain, and maybe they don't like the character design, because I said the Tomo's work is different than a lot of the people's that was, at this particular time, right? So it was a little different in that respect, but the production quality and everything on that is definitely even holds up to even today. So this classic is the start for a lot of people when they're getting into this sort of anime. And again, it took a little while for them to get it over here in North America, but this is one of the ones that they I'm pretty sure they fast tracked. So yeah, for this period, yeah, definitely Akira is my top number one recommendation for this season. The other two are a little less well known. They released another Saint Seiya movie, and again, very popular because this is even at this point, right? There was a lot of these stories about multiple guys wearing armor and that kind of stuff, or whatever, whether it was like samurai troopers or you know I guess later on that was Ronin Warriors, by the way. But other kind of people kind of get together to make a team, whether that's Sentai or not, to go and basically save the Earth from these things or whatever, and whatnot. So Saint Seiya, again, a very popular formula. They seem to got it to work, and they just continued their success for just making more movies that pretty much use the same plot. So. But a lot of people really liked it, and so they make more movies of it, right? And the last item that's kind of I'll slip in there is the Saki and Otojuko movie. So basically, based on the TV series of the same name, and a lot of people like this one because it's whether it's the memes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, at the time, it was it was the great manly show, right? So it spawned lots of really good, funny comedic moments. And so what they did is they finally put together a movie, there's a follow-up for the TV series. All right, so I hope you found that quite an interesting episode. And so I also want to make a note that even though I'm talking about all these titles and that kind of stuff, you realize that none of the commercial companies, Anime and all that kind of stuff, they haven't released anything and won't release anything until 1991, 92. Okay, so we're at 1988. So 4 years from now, you'll start seeing these titles coming out. For maybe 5 years from now, actually. Because I'm thinking, one of the titles there didn't come out until 92, right? So, so literally, 5 years from now, we'll actually start seeing these titles with an English subtitle. But again, this is sort of that exciting time where I'm going through these magazines. I know what is coming out as according to the magazines and that kind of stuff, and so I'm able to order some of this stuff. And sure, it might take me several months, because placing an order and then it has to get shipped over here by ship, not by airmail or anything like that. It's getting sent here by a ship. And yeah, so it may require several months for me to get it, but I am going to be like years ahead of what the commercial companies have. Again, still at this time, we haven't started fan subbing, and we haven't started with having things with English subtitles, or for definitely not English dubbed the anime right now. We are still watching anime straight in Japanese. We're kind of fighting our way and puzzling our way through these episodes. I mean, this is where I'm very thankful for having Daisuke, lead me along through different various different shows and whatnot. I mean, again, I think he also pulled me up and was talking about Saki and Otojuko, for example, and things like that, Maison Kaku and things like, shows like that, was all thanks to him. Okay, so again, don't forget to hit your notification and subscribe, because we've obviously got more of this MyAnimeList coming up in the near future. All right. So until next time, see you again.